All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Welcome back to another. It's been a while. Let's get back to it. Wild Card Wednesday. For anybody who doesn't know me, hi, I am Maggie, Maggie the substitute teacher. You may know me from my cooking channel. I make food and femininity content. Lucy, my bestie, is here. Lucy and I are the proud founders of the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. Last chance, ladies. Workbooks are going out tonight. The Finishing School for the Modern Woman is our privately taught 8-week school for ladies of all ages. We teach about elegance, etiquette, and femininity. If you didn't get that growing up, you can learn from the older women who believe in teaching the young. So, Lucy, please introduce yourself and then I'll share what we're talking about tonight.
Hi, Maggie. Hi, all. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that we're back to our Wild Card Wednesday. This has been I think, we've been getting together with on Wednesday for a while. The way you know me, some of you might know me by my channel. My channel mostly has topics about learning Spanish, but then this year I changed the content more to be focused on things that are related to femininity, elegance, and health topics or issues that apply mostly for women over a certain age.
Absolutely. All right, let's see who we have in the chat. I see Quasia's here. Thank you so much for checking in. I see you all. The hater himself. Yes, you've got daughters. You're welcome here. Thank you so much for being here on TikTok. Let's see who we have coming in. Hello, Bestie Ash. I see all of you all. Okay, so we are doing another reaction video tonight. Let me give you your 2 disclaimers. Again, we believe in traditional relationships, husband, wife, man and woman, mom and dad. We believe in traditional marriage, and Lucy and I both have long-term relationship and marriage experience. So if you believe in the older women teaching the young, even if you're a man, there's a woman in your life, a daughter, a sister, a cousin, or maybe your wife, we like to share, like the late, great Kevin Samuels taught us. And I believe we should tell what we've done right as well as what we've done wrong in hopes of making it better for those who are listening now or in the future. So if you want to do something different, that's totally fine. I'm just letting you know you won't be happy over here because we are going to stick to tradition. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about is, I know last week we did a video and it was someone made a comment about the appearance of the person who was telling his story. I really believe we can learn from everybody and we can learn from anybody. So I would challenge you, whatever you believe or whatever you think, try to listen for the message. That's something that I always try to do. And here's a tip. You can learn what to do. You can also learn what not to do by really being observant and watching other people. Life happens all around us. All right. So you got Tan Smith in the house. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So this video came up in my feed. It is Rabbi. Let me make sure I get his name correctly. Rabbi Manis Friedman, and he's an author, and he really talks about universal truths as far as relationships. And so this came up in my feed. I watched it, I shared with Lucy, and she said, yes, let's react to this. So I'm going to play the video with you all. And it's about 20 minutes long. If you want to watch it without our commentary, I always link it in the description. We'll play a little bit, we'll give you our thoughts, and then we will get into the next bit. All right, so here we go. Oh, how about I share my screen? Let's do that with sound. All right. And let me mute.
A pleasure in receiving is not healthy. His identity is getting a little confused. And it's not true that it's fluid. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. And if you're not enjoying being a man, it's a big problem. if you really want to get to the heart of the issue, all of Hasidus says one thing: understand and be comfortable with the idea that life is not about you. It's not about you. How does that apply to marriage? Or is marriage different? Marriage is all about you. Not even chatzi chatzi. How is marriage not about you?
All right, y'all, let's get in here and let's go ahead and unpack this. So I think I started after he spoke, but the title of this video is The Truth About Husbands. So he was talking about men. Maybe he's talking to men. I don't know. The camera is only on him. But I love what he said is that if you don't enjoy being a man, or you as a man, you should enjoy being a man. You all know over here we talk to the ladies. So I would say the converse is true. Women, if you want to be with a man or a masculine man, the type of men that we admire and respect over here, you have to enjoy being a woman. And that sounds so foreign to have to say that, but in the modern day and age that we live in, there is this erasing of man and woman. And you can believe what you want to believe, do what you want to do what you want to do. But I always say we are not equal. We are equally valued. And there are major differences between us. And I think our differences are beautiful. I absolutely love being a woman and making or helping my man to feel like the man. And I think that's one of the first steps in having the type of relationship that you want, is really acknowledging and enjoying what it is to be a woman. What would you add, Lucy?
I love that he said that it's not about you. And if you think about it, that marriage is really not about us individually, it's about each other. So what he does for me, I do for him. As I've said before, it's like a dance. You do this, you do that. You give me something, I give you something. So again, it's not always about us. It's not about, what am I going to get? What's in it for me? That is a really, different way of looking at a relationship, especially marriage.
Absolutely. All right. You all are agreeing so far. Thank you so much for the feedback. Let's go back in here.
It's pretty much the clearest and most obvious example. Particularly marriage is not about you, because there's somebody else. Until you're married, it's about you. Once you're married, it's not about you. What makes it possible for two people to become one? Because the purpose of marriage is v'hayu l'basar echad. How? How do two people become one? Especially when it's a man and a woman. They're not just two people, they're two very opposite people. Going straight to the core of the issue, marriage means a mashpia and a makabel. What is a mashpia? A mashpia is someone whose pleasure comes from giving. If you don't have an enjoyment and a pleasure of giving, you're not a mashpia. Even if you give, you're not a mashpia. Because a woman can give, and a lot, but she's not a mashpia. Why? Because that's not her tainuk. A mashpia it means not only that you are mashpia, But that being mashpia is your greatest satisfaction. If you're a teacher and you see success, the students are actually learning, they understood, they heard you, they got you. That is the biggest pleasure.
All right, so I want to unpack this one. And for those of you all who are just listening in, I know we have some that listen while doing other things. He's going to speak in English and then he's going to say a few words that I'm assuming are in Hebrew. Please forgive me if I get that wrong. Please correct me if someone knows. And there's a translation at the bottom. But he said a marriage is about having a provider and a receiver. And what I love about this is that we always say that we have been getting married and having relationships for thousands of years. There's this new modern era that we're all in. We all have our devices and we love the modern conveniences. And we think that some of the modern conveniences can erase some of the truths that have been there for thousands of years. And part of the reason why I wanted to share content from various authors and various speakers is because you see the red thread that is in humankind. We are not an anomaly here. We know how to do this right. So what he's saying is that for a man, and he is a man speaking to men, the man in the relationship is the provider. Ladies, you can argue me down, find me when you're 40 and 50. It's fine. But I love that he said that a man is the provider and a man should enjoy providing for his family. And I love that. You all know I'm a boy mom and we raise the boys that you are going to have to be the one that's responsible. So again, what we've done in modern society when it's like we're equal and I can do it and you can do it and everything you do I can do better. Believe me, as a reformed modern woman, that used to be me. It doesn't end well when you get to be my age. So young ladies, hear me and hear me well. There's a reason that we are set up the way that we are. What would you add, Lucy?
I like that for many centuries, all of these years that we've been together, humanity has been together, we've done it this way. There's a provider and there's a receiver. Sadly, for the Western world and for modern life, there's been so much modern training, modern education that has been teaching our young women that that we are equal in everything, and we have put the men and the boys in in a very difficult situation, because now they find themselves that even if they want to be a provider, some of these women say, no, I can provide all by myself. So again, that's where the society right now is in such chaos, because the men that are supposed to be the the strength in our society do not know their place, because we've been, for whatever reason, we've displaced them to be a lesser than what they are. So for me, I think we need to bring our men up to bring up that respect that we should have, because again, even those young ladies that think that they don't need any men, there's going to be a time where you will need men, and then once you get to that time, those men that you think you don't need, they're not going to be there for you. So again, it's time to start coming back and looking at those men with that respect that they deserve, because they do. For the most part, men are good. I don't care what anybody says, whether that you want to choose between a man and a bear. That is silly. Good men are there to keep those bears away from you, or to keep all that the bad men. The good men keep the bad men in check. So again, I think that we need to go back to that tradition and understanding that there's a place that we all have in this world. And as the rabbi says, there is a place for a provider and a receiver.
All right, so let's continue on here. I see you guys in the comments. I'm trying to respond to them. We're going to continue on with the video, but I'll tell you, like my man told me, he said, look, whether the ladies want to believe it or not, you're going to get on some man's program. So whether or not it's the man that you choose and chooses you, or your boss, or the law, or somewhere at some point in your life, you're going to be doing what some man says. I was like, man, you're right. Better be the man. Better not. Wouldn't it be better if it's the man who loves you and is devoted to you? Let us continue.
So a man is supposed to be the mashpia. If a man develops a pleasure in receiving, it's not healthy. His identity is getting a little confused. And it's not true that it's fluid. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. And if you're not enjoying being a man, it's a big problem. So how do you know who to marry? Somebody nice, somebody good, somebody smart? Those are too vague. Those are too general. So if a guy says, I met a girl, I can't believe she's so fantastic. I've never seen anybody like her in my life. She's so smart. She's so good. She's so capable. Unbelievable. Should I marry her? Absolutely not. Unless you don't really know her. And what you're describing is not exactly true. But if what you're describing is true, she doesn't need you. What are you marrying her for? What are you going to give her that she doesn't have? She's smarter than you, stronger than you, and more capable than you.
All right, ladies, let's unpack this one. Shout out to the boss babes. Shout out to the professional women. Shout out to those of us with our big jobs who think when we're young and strong and ain't nobody going to stop us. Nobody's going to break our stride. Be very careful, because if you hear what he's saying, if a man is the provider, and are we saying women don't work? No, Lucy and I both work. But if the man has the responsibility in the marriage to be the provider, right? And the woman is the receiver. We nurture, we make things beautiful, we make things better, we caretake for what is provided for us. But if you're one of these modern women who, I don't need a man, I'm not interested, what can a man do for me? I can do everything for myself. You are cutting away the knees at the essence of who a man is. So you think you're showing up as, what did he say? Capable and smart and strong and all these things. I can buy my own things. I can pay my own bills. That's great. That's being an adult. You should be able to take care of yourself. But when you lead with that, when you try to shame a man whose core essence in the relationship is to provide for his loved ones, you will find yourself alone, because a man will leave that and he will find a woman who appreciates who he is and appreciates what he can do for them and their family. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And as a modern woman, if you come in saying that you can do it all by yourself, the man is going to say, then why am I here for? So, go live yourself with, on your own, with your happy house, with all that you can maintain. And I will go find somebody that will be looking at the things that I can do for her and will appreciate those things that I was meant to be from my DNA asks me to be that. So again, it's unfortunate that we are not being practical when it comes to our what we do in a relationship, and that's what's causing all of these confusion in these dating and relationship issues for the modern people.
So we have a question. Killa says, don't be a man that you are not proud of. And if you're proud of your man, you would always lead with kindness and grace anyway, right? I think as women, as ladies, because there is a difference between a woman and a lady, I think as ladies, we should lead with kindness and grace, whether we're in a relationship or if we're single. But yes, I remember Kevin Samuel said this in one of his episodes that modern women have become the men that they say that they want. And so when you show up that way, you are going to repel the man. It's not going to be the other way around. Let's go back in and continue.
Obviously, I don't mean you should marry some nebuch. I mean somebody who can look up to you because you have something she doesn't have. I had this Israeli woman, one of these very learned, secular, frum, traditional, but not, one of these is chevraman. Anyway, so she's very into Torah. Yeah, everything's very good, except for one line in the Torah. V'hu yimshul bach. She says, fix it, get it out. It's a perfect Torah, and that one sentence ruins the whole thing. V'hu yimshul bach, turning every woman off. So I knew she wouldn't accept any answer, no matter what I said. I said, did you ever wonder why does it say v'hu yimshul bach? Is that correct Hebrew? Shouldn't it say v'hu yimshul olayich? He will rule in you, or he will rule over you? And she said, whoa, I never noticed that. It's okay, when you figure that out, then you'll understand what it's saying. El ishech chukosech, v'hu yimshul bach. Meaning, you have a longing for a husband, and you want him to be Moshel. Not over you, it's in you that he should be the Moshel. And if he's not, I don't need him.
All right, so let's unpack this one. I see you all in the chat and you all are loving learning from this elder man. And I'm so grateful that you all are actually getting the lesson because like I said in the beginning, I know we have some people that pop in. There are just some truths that have worked for thousands of years in all cultures and all societies. And I always say, I think we are more alike than we are different. I love our differences. But what I wanted to unpack, and shout out to BLJ, one of our founding fathers, is in the house giving us his approval. So he was quoting some scripture, and again, not my faith, but I'm just trying to understand. But there was a preposition there that the woman was having some struggles with. A lot of times women, modern women, are almost, they have a visceral reaction to being in any type of submission, getting on anyone's program, accepting that the man leads, we follow, he provides, we receive, he has the final say. So any of these universal truths that have worked in marriages for thousands of years. And so when a lot of modern women hear he's going to be, over the household or over me, that's the last thing that they want to hear. But what he said is, in the scripture, the way he explained it, and this isn't about any particular faith, but it's about that desire should be in you. And I love that because, ladies, men know if we genuinely want them to take the reins or if we're just like, get our fingers off the steering wheel and we're gritting our teeth and white knuckles to the bitter end. And part of submission, the way the late great Kevin Samuels used to say it, is just happy cooperation or respectful cooperation. And I will just say, as an older woman, I'll be 50 next year, ladies, you're not going to want that burden on your hips. and take it down. Men are built differently. So like Killa said, if you have a good one, if you have a man that you are proud of, make it easy for him and make it easy for yourself. What would you add, Lucy?
And I think the desire to respect the men um, is being erased because we are from cradle to when we're older, through the news, through the movies, through the music, through everything, they're telling us otherwise. So again, the fact that an elder is telling us that appreciation for the man being a provider has to come from within. It's something that, as older women, as maybe aunties, as sisters, we need to get back and say, you know what, men have a place in this world. They have given us the place here, and now we're trying to push them aside, which unfortunately for us, we think that it can happen, but they are stronger. They are much more than what we are, and they have been so noble to allow us to be our chaotic selves. But when it's times for them to take the reign, we're not going to like it. Why not, from beginning, start seeing the good things that they've done for us and start appreciating it and start letting them know that we appreciate them for what they are. And if we see a man that we're not interested in, we have nothing to do with, then we don't pay attention to that. We surround ourselves with those men that are going to be good for our lives.
Absolutely. All right, let us continue.
So it's not saying women are weak and you have to be their boss. It's saying the woman will accept you if you can be the boss. If not, she doesn't need you. So even the most capable, successful, powerful, intelligent woman in the world is looking for a husband who will be her hero, her father, her protector, her something. Otherwise, what does she need him for? So this whole idea that a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, are equal is a horrible idea. So this couple came for marriage counseling. She says, we're married for whatever, a bunch of years. He never does anything. This is a pretty radical statement. Never does anything. I have to do everything. He does nothing. He looks at me like she's crazy. He says to her, have I ever refused anything you've asked for? I do nothing. I have never said no to you about anything. I give you everything you ask for. And she says, no, you don't do anything. So who's lying here? Anyway, at some point, she says, okay, I've had it. That's it. I'm finished. We went already for marriage counseling. We went for therapy. We went for years and years. Enough. Let's just get divorced and get this over with. He says, if you want a divorce, I'll give you a divorce. So she looks at me and she says, you see? He never does anything. If I want a divorce, what do you want? Do something on your own without my asking you. So what is she saying? Take charge. Don't do whatever I ask you. What do you mean, my son? It's frustrating to a woman when you treat her like, well, what do you think? Well, what do you want? Well. Live a life that she can follow.
Oh, that part right there. I love, love this. So I can tell he's speaking to men in the audience, but I think we can learn so much from this. So he's chastising the men and saying, don't just lay down and be a doormat. He's saying, be a leader of your home, of your marriage, live the type of life that we women, we notice it. We know when that man walks in the room and you instantly like there's something about him that you admire. I think we have to be a woman worthy of that type of man. And I think we need to show appreciation. But here's the lesson in it for me, especially for young women, especially when you have it. My man calls it the superpower. When you're in your 20s and you're young and you're beautiful and you're in your prime and you have all this attention, when you have men who do anything that you say, give you anything that you want, never tell you no, like he was talking about in this example, you will grow to resent them. You feel like you're winning now. You feel like you're getting everything, but there's just something hardwired in us as women that wants to know there's a line, there's a boundary. He's just not going to let me walk over him. A masculine man will show you that from the beginning, believe me. But when you want the type of relationship that's going to last over the long term, it cannot be with a man who just folds every time you ask for something. And there's nothing you can do to change that, ladies. You have to make sure you date with intention and find and be found by the type of masculine man that has structure, has a life plan, can communicate that to you, has a role for you in that life if you want something traditional, and then you let him lead and you follow. Other than that, you can take the burden on your back. It will crumble. You will crumble under the pressure. Believe me. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree, and I listen to that, and I feel terrible for the men, for the young men, especially for those that do not have that masculine leadership in their house. And again, I think about how many divorces, how many uh, single mom homes without the father to be the guidance to say, no, this is not what you do as a man. So again, we're seeing a lot of that society crumble a little bit because we don't masculinity is under attack. It has been under attack since the 1970s, and this at this point we are the result of what is happening to our society because we have told our young men that masculinity is toxic, that they can be that testosterone is not good for them. Even in the educational system, we keep boys in a room where they cannot let out all that energy that they have. We don't take them out. All those trade jobs, all those they used to do they used to have mechanic classes, carpentry classes. We've removed all of that, so now the young men with all that energy, now they are told to temper it down, to shut it down because it's not good, because it's toxic. So again, we need more examples of masculine men to be around those boys that do not have it at their home. And I think that should be something that we should look into when we're wanting that strong man. One of the things to ask, do you have a father and a mother? And look how the relationship is between them to know whether he has had that masculine guidance or not.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. I see the question here from Taya about, do we think this started when women were given money for businesses? I don't think so. I don't know if that was something from the pandemic, but I think this has been coming for a long time coming. And I don't really get into history and statistics, but we can see this. I mean, you all have seen the change in society. I just think maybe it's, feminism, that's a big part of it. The modern world, maybe, some of you believe that it's, evil forces. It could be anything. But for me, I just want to draw awareness to it, that this is happening. And if it goes unchecked, whatever the reason is, if it goes unchecked, we will see a version of ourselves that we don't like. So for any of the women who want something traditional, you're going to have to be that one swimming upstream. And Lucy is right. We love the men, but there has been how do you say, there's been an intention to soften what's natural in boys. And I know as a boy mom, y'all, there were some times where I didn't think we were going to make it. And I have had friends tell me, get the boys tested, put them on medication. I didn't do any of that. Even though as a divorcee, I was married for 10 years, but as a reformed modern woman, I thought I could compete, and that's not what's important in a relationship. So I learned the second time around. But we co-parent really, really well. And actually, I've shared with you all, the boys actually live with their dad now. And it was a huge ego check for me. I think I'm a good mom. I want to be a good mom. It's in me to be a good mom. But even being the best mother that I think that I am not a man. I cannot raise a man. Both of the boys are going into the service. My ex-husband's family is all military. And it's like the change in them since they've just been around their dad, working on the car, changing oil, doing whatever they do on the weekends, instead of running errands with me. They're just things that men can teach other men. And the last thing I'll say, and then we'll go back into the video, I love that this is an elder statesman, in the Jewish community. But have you noticed that he is not flashy? He's not in your face. He's not even raising his voice, but his stoicism just comes through. The essence of a man and that quiet confidence, that's something that it really struck me, and I was just mesmerized by it. So again, ladies, pick up on these differences. We'll talk a lot more about this in the finishing school. So you can join us. We start in a couple weeks. So let's get back to it.
Which that's what it means. You propose to a woman, you're saying, come into my life and support me. What if you don't have a life? Then who is she marrying? It's become very popular. She has a life and she wants to marry you if you'll join her in her life. So you're going to be the wife. And then nobody's happy because you can't fool Mother Nature. If you become the wife, she becomes the husband. She hates you for making her become the husband. And you're wiped out because you can't be a man. The whole thing is a disaster. So number one, before you even think of getting married, do you have more or less a picture of what your life is going to be? So you know what you're bringing her into? And it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't say, join me. Join me. You're not big enough or interesting enough for her to commit herself to you. If you have a life that she approves of and likes and wants to be part of it, then she joins you in your life, not just in your personality. So you have to have at least a vague picture. Tell her what life you're bringing her into. Doesn't have to have every detail, but something. That's number one. Number two.
All right, I just want to unpack this and then we'll get back into it, ladies. So you hear he's talking to the men. Number one, have a life that you can describe to her that she can sign up for. So I'm going to tell the ladies, because we talk to the ladies here, do not hitch your wagon to a man without a plan. Full stop. I don't care how tall he is, how attractive he is, how sexy he is. None of that matters. For me, and for those of you all who want traditional, the purpose of dating is to determine if this is a match, a suitable match for marriage or long term. It's not to get dressed up and take pictures. It's not to go to a fancy restaurant that you can't afford. It's not to go, somewhere and brag to all of your friends. You need to be listening to the man. Does he have a vision for his life plan? Can he communicate that to you? If not, it doesn't make him a bad person, but he's not ready to be a husband. If he's still figuring it out, that's fine. Let him figure it out. That's why we encourage younger women to look older or to allow an older man because he's gone through what he needs to go through to be able to command that respect. I've told the boys it's going to be, they're teenagers, it's going to be at least 10 years before you even think about it. You've got to go struggle and fail and try again and learn and sweat and bleed and toil. Then you present yourself to the woman saying, this is what I've built, this is what I can offer. Ladies, if he does not have that, and it's different for different men, but if he does not have a life plan, he is not ready to be a husband. Do not waste your time. If you hitch your wagon to something for fun, you'll end up alone. What would you add, Lucy?
And I agree. And to start listening to what, if a man has a plan on those first dating days. Day one, it's, something that will, something brief, but you start knowing what his plan is by listening to what he says. If by the third date, you have no idea what this guy what he wants to do in the future, that should be something to be concerned about. And that's why it's so important for younger women, for young ladies, not to give themselves physically to those men so quickly, because you might end up in a situationship 10 years from now, thinking that that man is going to give you the life that you think, and he still hasn't given you an idea of what he plans to do with you. He might have a plan to do with somebody else, but not with you.
All right, let us continue.
What do you consider a family, a home? What does that look like? What are the rules of a home? People come and complain. We don't have shalom bayis. We need shalom bayis. Can you help us with shalom bayis? A second. If you had a bias, I could help you with the shalom. You don't have a bias. So your problem is not shalom bias. The problem is you don't have a bias. You have no structure. You have no rules and guidelines for how to build a home, how to build a, and you want shalom bias. What does a home look like?
All right, I'm just going to stop here and say thank you so much, Gillis, for sharing. I love that, at least in our space, we're honest about what we got right and what we got wrong. And Gillis is saying, this is exactly what happened to me, Maggie. Everything was for the, oh, he's cute, he has a nice body. I wasted my life with that for sure. What a shame. Ladies, and especially young ladies, you only have one shot. I was talking to Thane last week, and he has told me multiple times, you only have one shot to get the outcome that you want in life. Lightning may strike twice. It is extremely rare. I am so grateful for what I have, but even still, you got to piece things together. I've got kids, I got an ex-husband. It's just a lot. So choose very, very wisely. And I love what he said about peace in the home. The older you get, ladies, peace is going to matter so much more to you than whatever trend, whoever's saying something, doing something, wearing something. Believe me, it's not going to matter. You'll trade anything for peace. And I love that he asked, he's talking to the men, but I think this can apply to us too, ladies. Like Lucy said, in those early dates, what kind of questions are you asking? What does a happy home life look like for you? What does the future, what does successful relationship look like for you? You need to be trying to understand what his vision is, not only what his experience is, but what his plan is for the future, and then see if you can fit in that. If he says, oh, I saw somebody here, I don't really know, I'm just going to kind of play it by ear day to day, fine. Doesn't make you a bad person, but it doesn't make you a husband. Because if we go back to the beginning, we women are wired to look for a man to lead and to have structure. So if he's still figuring it out, let him figure it out alone. Do not hitch your wagon to him. Do not have a child for him. What would you say, Lucy?
And like the rabbi said, it creates resentment. It creates, the woman saying, I thought he was going to do better. I thought he was going to do this. And then you get to a point 50 years later and you're still at the point where things have not planned. That resentment is not going to create that peace in the home.
All right, let us continue. So you've got number 1 and you've got number 2.
In different countries, different cultures, it's a little different from other countries. What is your picture, not only of your life, but of your home? Of a bias. What's a bias? Then you can get to how do you make sholem bias. The next important topic is respect. It is very hard to respect someone you live with. You become too familiar. You become too comfortable, too predictable. I just read that there was a very, very holy man, out of this world guy. He got married. And a day or two after the marriage, he saw a woman walking around in his house. He said, what is she doing here? But then he thought, no, wait, maybe this is the one I married. So he checked and yeah, it was the one he married. Is that weird? Actually, it's very romantic. It's like every day, are you the one? Oh, wow. No boredom there. You know what I mean? It's like you're not getting too familiar with each other. Anyway, yeah, it's weird. How do you stay respectful day after day, seeing people in their natural, unprotected, without the makeup and without trying so hard to be nice? How do you maintain respect? That is such a crucial question. And no one ever talks about it. Not in the books, not in the svarim, not in the... Yeah, it says you have to respect your wife. Thank you. The only way to maintain respect is through tznius. A lack of tznius, the respect goes out the window in a minute. If you enjoyed this conversation or this topic.
Wow. All right. Oh, I didn't think we would get to the end that fast, but let's talk about that last point and then let's see what you all have to say. And then we will wrap it up. Respect. That is such an underrated quality. And again, that is a man talking to men. I listen for what we women can teach the women. I learned the hard way that respect is more important than love. And when you're young and you're wide-eyed and I'm here for all of the feelings and I want to feel this love. And, there are moments of that. Don't get me wrong. We all love the Disney. But if you just try to build a relationship on those moments of feeling the love, it will crumble. It's not real. That respect has to be there. And I would say, second time around, I'm with someone that I respected from the beginning, who insisted on respect from the beginning and had the qualities that I could see demonstrated. Wow, yeah, he can do a lot more than me. I think I'm great, but I can't even hold a candle. And ladies, what you will learn, especially this is important for the modern women, for men, respect is more important than love. You can say, but I love you. You can go through all of these emotions, do all the little cutesy things that are great. But if you don't have that foundation of respect, if you talk to him any kind of way in public, if you don't keep his secrets and you talk about, private, intimate things with your friends and family, if you try to talk to him like a child or try to shame his best efforts in doing something, if you show disrespect, if you got to have that last little word, if you love the thrill of debate, if you just can't take no for no, and he's got to go through 20 questions to explain, that relationship is not going to last. So I would say prioritize respect. And again, that comes from really taking time to be vetted, and get to know somebody. Do I like the character and the qualities of this man? And like he said, when it comes to modesty, do what you want to do. Nobody is going to shout you down. But when you move too fast, or when you get too familiar too soon, it blinds you from really seeing if this person has the qualities that are going to last for the long haul. Lucy and I did a stream last week about not living with someone. And whatever your morals are, I do agree that if you live with someone and you establish that, you know what, you're no better than me, I'm no better than you. When you want to try and turn that into marriage or a traditional relationship, if that's what you want, it's going to be really hard if you haven't established that in the beginning. So I love that part about respect. And ladies, believe me, the love will always be there. But dare I say, when I talk to Thane, we almost need to have a healthy fear of crossing our man. And if you feel like you can walk over him, he's not going to do anything. What is he going to say? If you do not respect him, I don't know if it's salvageable. Maybe it is. But I think every day of how my actions reflect on my man, and it keeps me in check. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And also, respect has to do with how we as women present our men to the world, how we present ourselves to the world in representation to our men. When it comes to modesty, I always think about, am I dressed in a way that will make another man look at me? And if he's not around, I'm going to have to defend myself. Or if he's around and a man disrespects me, he's going to have to come in and defend my honor. So again, it has to do with everything. Everything comes together when it comes to respect. Always think about, how is it going to affect him? How is it going to affect his reputation? How are the friends going to see me out there? Are they going to know that it's the way that I'm acting? Is it going to get back to him, and he's going to say, well, yeah, I know that's her because that's my wife? Or is he going to say, what? Wow, I had never heard that she acted that way outside. So again, that respect, it's so crucial. And it also comes to with us saying, I choose to respect my man. I don't care what anybody says. I choose to respect him because he's the one that's providing me with a beautiful home, with a beautiful life, with a peaceful life. This is how I want to return my love to him, by the way I show my respect for him.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat, and then we will wrap it up tonight. Lucy, I'm going to start with the en Espanol comments, if there's anything here that we need to respond to.
Kaya says, for me, appearances are important at the beginning, but not for long term.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say we're all attracted to what we're attracted to, but I will just say this, ladies, men know. Here comes Suave D. I'm going to get better about these. Suave D, always so consistent. Thank you so much for the $10. He says, God bless, ladies. We appreciate you. So generous. Thank you. Looks do matter, but I just want to say, and I don't speak for men here, but I have heard men say that looks are important, but only if they are backed up with real substance behind them. Because you can beautify yourself to the hills, but if you're rotten to the core, you won't last long. You will easily be replaced. And ladies, I would just say this, especially for two older women, our men know that we are going to age. Yes, you can age gracefully, but if you focus, especially when you have the leverage of your youth and beauty if you focus on building those inner qualities that don't age, that will always be there: the care, the nurturing, the respect, the love, the modesty, all of the things that we've talked about. When you get a little bit of gray hair or maybe a little bit of menopause weight or whatever it is, the man that you have chosen, the husband that has selected you, well, I would say they love you more. They love us more and more. Thank you so much for that. Um, let's see what else here. You all are agreeing. Yes, thank you so much. Absolutely. I see a lot of comments there. Thank you all so much. Lucy and I are here twice a week. We'll probably go back to our wild card Wednesdays and Saturdays to give you all 2 times a week. We like to give back and share our perspective. I'm glad that you all were open to this video, and I think, oh my goodness, look at Mrs. Crotty Shetty. Okay, I'm going to put that in the banner. You all are just coming through tonight. Thank you. She says, thank you, ladies, for all you do. It is our absolute honor and pleasure. And again, if you want to work with us privately, the Finishing School for the Modern Woman is open for registration, but not for long, because once we start class the first weekend in September, registration will close. We only do it twice a year. And this is the prerequisite for our advanced class that we're going to have in November about wife archetypes. So if you're really marriage minded and you don't know what it means to be the wife to the kind of man that you want, we have an advanced class, but you have to take the first one. All right. So Lucy, what would you add to close this out?
I noticed that he does counseling. So I think that it's important that if you're ever in a situation, relationship situation, where you need help, I think that going to somebody like him would probably help you better than with going to somebody that's not religious base or doesn't have that base, because unfortunately the psychological or the psychology world is filled with a lot of feminist um, based thinking. So again, they're always going to just take the woman's side no matter what. So again, when you go for counseling, just be careful on who you use to counsel. I think that Rabbi is great, especially for a man. If you're going to get some kind of guidance from him, I think that that would be somebody that would probably keep your relationship intact rather than telling you, no, it's not working out, just, divorce.
I could not agree more. Again, this is our perspective from older women teaching the young, but I agree. Whatever you decide to do, if you are marriage minded and relationship focused, make sure not only the person that you're seeking counsel from, but start to look at your surroundings. I'll speak to the ladies here. Make sure you start to surround yourself. Shout out to the Finishing School, our community, or even your friends and colleagues and the people that you spend time with and you listen to and that listen to you want your marriage, want your relationship to win. There are so many examples of women who let people get in their ear. They blew up their marriage and now they regret it. So yes, I would agree. If you're going to seek out any type of counsel, look for people who at least have the type of relationship that you want or support the type of relationship that you want. And that goes either way. Don't come to me if you want, 50-50. Nothing's wrong with that. If you want a man to get on your program, you go buy the ring and propose. I can't help you with that. And I mean that genuinely. There's something for everybody out there. But we appreciate you all so much. Thank you for being here. And we will see you on the next one, probably Saturday. And until next time, adios.
Adios.